Hi, welcome back to another episode of Stand on Guard. I'm your host, David Krayden. Happy you could join me today. We've got a lot of material to go through. Merry Christmas again. If you didn't catch my abbreviated show yesterday, we'll be right back with more.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need political change, but we also need the resolve to resist.
Yes, please like the broadcast and appreciate your support. We're still trying to hit 40,000 within the next week. Well, actually, less than a week. Think we can do it? I don't know. We'll do our best. But if we don't, it wasn't for lack of trying. We'll be back later, I hope, with a couple of songs. I tried that yesterday. Didn't quite work out. But once again, Merry Christmas. I hope you had a wonderful time with your family, loved ones, friends, whomever you're able to spend Christmas with. If you were alone, I pray that you had some quality time and a blessed time. But we got lots to talk about. Like the station right now, by the way, if you can, because it's the time of year. People tend to forget about that. There's some good news. As you looked at the thumbnail this morning of the show, this is not a Merry Christmas for Justin Trudeau. This is what Justin Trudeau is looking at. 69% of Canadians want him to resign. Now, as we have reported here on the station, he has no intention of doing so. He's not going to make an announcement before New Year's or between Christmas and New Year's. I have to laugh at Donald Trump yesterday, and we'll get to this later. He thinks Wayne Gretzky should be our next prime minister. He's still trolling. He's still trolling Justin Trudeau. Uh, I've got to show you this. It's. I don't know if you. I hate the word cringeworthy. Everyone uses it now, and I'm a person who hates to use something that everybody's using. But this is the most delusional Christmas message in the history of politics.
Everyone, Merry Christmas. This is a time of year to slow down, to rest, and to connect with the people you love most. It's a moment to put our phones down, to put our politics aside, even when that one cousin makes it really hard, and to focus on what matters. For Christians, it's a time to celebrate the birth of Christ and think about his story of kindness, forgiveness, and faith. The lessons of his life are universal, and they inspire and comfort people every time they're told and retold. For so many,
Isn't that nice? He actually acknowledged that Christmas has something to do with Jesus Christ. How nice of Trudeau. But let's forget about politics.
the holidays are a time of big family gatherings and feasts, of gifts and celebrations. But maybe it's a very hard time for you. If you're grieving, worried, or alone, this can be the toughest time of the year. It can be the loneliest. So let us all check in on the people in our lives who've not had an easy time this year and who may be needing us more than we know. For a lot of Canadians, Christmas is not a holiday at all. So thank you to our brave first responders, CAF members, healthcare and essential workers, and everyone who's on a job right now so that others can stay home safely. You embody what Christmas is really about: giving. Gifts, food, and service to those around us.
Yeah, I was working yesterday too. I'm working again today. Just forget about the politics, just in hopes and praise, and you won't remember that I'm your prime minister and that 70% of the population wants me to go. That's Justin Trudeau's message for Christmas. And you can just see the phoniness. Though, is he alone this Christmas? I have a feeling he might be. Anyway, what's Donald Trump been up to? Well, we've got plenty here. But before we get into the video, I wanted to show. I just love this. Donald Trump wants to rename Denali. I didn't even know this mountain had been renamed. I still called it Mount McKinley. This is the mountain in Alaska. It's the highest peak in North America, named after a U.S. president, a Republican. Now, Barack Obama, changed the name in 2015 to some indigenous Alaskan word for the Great One. I don't know if they were talking about Jackie Gleason or or Wayne Gretzky when they mentioned the Great One, but Donald Trump changed it back to Mount McKinley because he said, we're not going to cancel U.S. presidents just because they weren't white or they were white or because they were not indigenous or because they were Republican or because they were free enterprisers. I love this. Just stop renaming the history. Stop changing the past. And this was wonderful. And if you missed this, I played this last week. Rand Paul just blasted Trudeau over the Emergencies Act because, of course, the Department of Homeland Security, in the midst of all of these drones, says we need more power to find out what these things are. Yeah, BS. We need more authority. The government does not need more authority of any kind to do anything. The Department of Homeland Security should be completely grounded. It is a waste of space, and it only exists to oppress Americans now. It does absolutely no other good. Now, of course, Donald Trump was up to his usual over Christmas. It got to Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, whose citizens' taxes are far too high. But if Canada was to become our 51st state, their taxes would be cut by more than 60%. Their businesses would immediately double in size, and they would be militarily protected like no other country in the world. The truth is, we are already militarily protected by the United States through a number of treaties and arrangements and agreements, including NORAD and a continental army defense that we have in place, a land defense treaty with the United States. So, we've already got that. But it's amazing how he just throws that out there because he knows it bothers Justin Trudeau. He says, Merry Christmas to the radical left lunatics who are constantly trying to obstruct our court system and our elections. And he goes through. This is Donald Trump's Christmas message on Truth Social. We'll look at this a bit more. I love this. I just left Wayne Gretzky, the great one. There you go. That's what the mountain was named after, as he is known in ice hockey circles. I said, Wayne, why don't you run for Prime Minister of Canada, soon to be known as the Governor of Canada? You would win easily. You wouldn't have to campaign. He had no interest, but I think the people of Canada should start a draft Wayne Gretzky movement. It would be so much fun to watch. All right, question for you all this morning in the comments section. Is Donald Trump aiming this at Pierre Poilievre, Justin Trudeau, or both of them? Now, clearly, Donald Trump is indicating day after day after day on Truth Social and every message he puts out there, I can't take Justin Trudeau seriously. I don't think he can negotiate on behalf of Canadians. I can't believe this man hasn't resigned yet. He has no credibility with me, my administration, or the United States. I'm wondering here, though, is he also saying he doesn't have a lot of time for Pierre Poilievre? Because perhaps he doesn't respect Pierre Poilievre's work history? I don't know. This question I'm putting out there. Because it's clearly there's somebody else who's in line to be prime minister, and Donald Trump doesn't even acknowledge that. I find that vaguely concerning, especially if your name is Pierre Poilievre. But there might be something here. Anyway, Pierre Poilievre's message, speaking of, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I found this good because it focused on the Christian nature of Christmas. Today is sacred for millions of Canadians from coast to coast to coast. Christian families come together to mark the birth of their Messiah. I would have preferred to hear of the Messiah, because Poilievre was again saying, hey, don't think I'm on somebody's side here. No, it should be the birth of the Messiah, not their Messiah. Jesus Christ is everyone's Messiah. And if you can't say that, don't say it at all. Christmas is the story of a long-awaited Savior. It's not a story. It's the unfolding of a long-awaited. So came into the world among the poorest and most humble. It is a story of wise men and shepherds. Okay. Otherwise, not a bad Christmas message. I'll give him something for that. But finally, I want to get to some great video here. And once again, thank you for joining me on this Boxing Day. I don't know if you're all going out to shop today. I'm not.
You're listening, and we love you. We're not forgetting you. And for all of us standing before you today, I can proudly proclaim that the golden age of America is upon us. It is. We need borders, we need fair elections, and we need a free and fair press. And we're going to try getting all of them. As another example of the things we're doing and looking at, it's such a terrible thing is happening. The Panama Canal is considered a vital national asset for the United States of America due to its critical role, American economy, the whole world economy, and also national security.
For those of you who don't know, the Panama Canal was built by the Americans in about 1904. I think it was completed under President Theodore Roosevelt. The United States owned the Panama Canal until 1977, 78. President Jimmy Carter, gave the Panama Canal back to the Panamanians. So Donald Trump is the first president since then, 50 years later, to say the United States should take it back. I just find it fascinating.
Panama Canal. Has anyone ever heard of the Panama Canal? Huh? Because we're being ripped off at the Panama Canal like we're being ripped off everywhere else. A secure, he just said take it back. That's a good idea. Where do you come from, sir? He doesn't come from Panama. Oh, yeah, good. A secure Panama Canal is crucial for U.S. commerce and rapid deployment of the Navy from the Atlantic all the way to the Pacific. It's an incredible thing, and drastically cut shipping times down to U.S. ports by days and even weeks. The United States is the #1 user of the Panama Canal, with over 72% of all transits heading to or from U.S. ports. Think of that. So we built it. We're the ones that use it. They gave it away. Considered one of the one of the great wonders of the world. The Panama Canal opened for business 110 years ago and was built at huge cost to the United States, and it really is big when you consider the lives and the treasure, the equivalent of $1.2 trillion today. You don't hear those numbers. 38,000 American men, almost all men, they went there to be construction workers and dig. They were diggers, and they were brave. 38,000 men died from infected mosquitoes in the jungles of Panama during the construction period. Think of that. We lost 38,000 men. Teddy Roosevelt was president of the United States at the time of its building and understood the strength of naval power and trade. When President Jimmy Carter foolishly gave it away for $1. During his term in office, it was solely for Panama to manage and not for China or any other country to manage. You see what's going on there? China. It was likewise not given for Panama to charge the United States, its Navy, and its corporations doing business within our country exorbitant prices and rates of passage, which they do. They charge us like it's a disgrace. Our Navy and Commerce have been treated in a very unfair and injudicious way. The fees being charged by Panama are ridiculous, highly unfair, especially knowing the extraordinary generosity that has been bestowed to Panama, I say very foolishly, by the United States. This complete ripoff of our country will immediately stop. It's going to stop. The United States has a big and vested interest in the secure, efficient, and reliable operation of the Panama Canal. And that was always understood when they gave it to Panama. Can you believe that? We would never have done it if we thought what's happening now can happen, and we would never, and we will never, ever let it fall into the wrong hands. But it's falling into the wrong hands. It was not given for the benefit of others by a token of cooperation, but it was given to Panama and to the people of Panama, but it has provisions. You got to treat us fairly, and they haven't treated us fairly.
So Donald Trump wants Canada to be the 51st state. He's going after the Panama Canal. He's renaming mountains. He's not even president yet. By the way, did you hear Danielle Smith, Alberta Premier Danielle Smith, will be attending the inauguration? Justin Trudeau won't be. Danielle Smith is going to discuss the potential trade war with Donald Trump while she's there. And she's going to be discussing the 25% tariff that Trump has threatened to slap on all Canadian goods. So I think this is a marvelous opportunity for what I call the real Canadian Premier, Danielle Smith, to deal with Donald Trump while the anti-Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, won't be there. In fact, we can hope and pray there's an election call by then. We really can. Let's see what I love how the Aussies interpret Canadian and American news. Let's have a little listen to this morning.
Let's go to the US because President-elect Donald Trump has shared his Christmas message, and it is brilliant, trolling the radical left who always try to find a way to ruin this special and holy day. Donald Trump posted on Truth Social, "Merry Christmas to the radical left lunatics who are constantly trying to obstruct our court system and our elections. They know that their only chance of survival is getting pardons from a man who has absolutely no idea what he's doing." And also Donald Trump wanted to take aim at Justin Trudeau. He said to Governor Justin Trudeau of Canada, whose citizens' taxes are far too high, but if Canada was to become our 51st state, their taxes would be cut by more than 60%. We've also heard from President Joe Biden, if we can remember him, and he shared a Christmas message and he doesn't even feature in it. Let's take a look at this.
There's a certain stillness at the center of Christmas story. Silent night when all the world goes quiet, all the noise, everything that divides us, it all fades away in stillness of the winter's evening. And we look to the sky, to the lone star, shining brighter than all the rest, guiding us to the birth of a child.
So there's some guy doing a fairly good impersonation of Joe Biden as you go through this whirlwind tour of the White House Christmas lights, and you almost want to fall over because it reminds me of the Blair Witch Project in many ways, watching these lights go by so fast and the camera inducing seasickness. This is, on the one hand, we have Justin Trudeau imagining that nobody's going to be talking about politics at Christmas and they're not going to be thinking about how I should be resigning. And you've got Joe Biden. He's not even in the picture. Of course, Joe Biden's not there. Joe Biden just commuted the life sentences of 37 out of 40 death row inmates last week. This is absolutely shocking. This is the same Joe Biden who wrote, well, at least his aides did, the 3 strikes you're out bill in 1994 under Bill Clinton. Is this really Joe Biden? No, this is some impersonator, just like the guy who's doing this video here. Some guy in the White House is signing documents on behalf of the president. This is illegal. This is illegal. And it should not be happening. Joe Biden is not of sound mind to sign documents. Somebody else is signing documents in his stead without any authority from Congress or anybody to do this. It's absolutely incredible.
Goes on for a couple of minutes, but that just gives me a headache. But this podcaster, Joe Rogan, has summed it up brilliantly. He has shared this video that really captures the difference between the left and the right. Take a look.
How dare we speak Merry Christmas? How dare we?
Well, guess what? We're saying Merry Christmas again.
Joe, how good is that? But it shows you what kind of different world we would be living in.
It is amazing, and you see all these things like, how dare you have Merry Christmas when there are people suffering in Palestine? It's like, what? Are we not allowed to be happy about anything ever because someone somewhere is not happy? Because that would eradicate all happiness among all people for all time. But look, I particularly enjoyed the Joe Biden one because it reminded me of that guy you're sitting next to at the dinner table at Christmas Day and you're not quite sure how you're related. You think maybe your great auntie might have hooked up with him at the bowls club. And
but he's there on Christmas Day.
He's come to Christmas because he's got nowhere else to go. And he just starts telling you what Christmas means to him. And you go, oh, can we just... And it just makes no sense. And also, that Christmas tree in the White House is an abomination. My mother-in-law, who gave me this beautiful shirt that I'm wearing, by the way, thanks, Jill, that has a little smaller one of the sort of wooden sort of, I don't know, is it Art Deco? Is it the deconstructed Christmas tree where, you know, each sort of little thing slides around and blah, blah, blah. It's like, that is not a fir tree. That is not a Christmas tree. The whole idea of a Christmas tree is that it is an evergreen tree that even in the very depths of winter still produces its, as the song goes, its lovely, lustrous branches. And you're just reducing it. What the heck is that?
Metal.
Like, it's just, I mean, firstly, it's a safety hazard. If there are any children in the White House, they'd come out with eye patches. They'd be like Long John Silver. And secondly, it's just not Christmassy. And I do appreciate the irony that every year I take an evergreen Christmas tree and cut it down so it immediately dies within about 3 weeks. But I don't care. It's symbolic.
It's Christmas. No, we have to get around it, keep traditions alive. But Freya, Donald Trump also slammed the criminals that Joe Biden commuted earlier in the week. He said also to the 37 most violent criminals who killed and raped people once before, who were just given a pardon, an incredible pardon by sleepy Joe Biden. He refuses to wish them a Merry Christmas to those lucky souls, but will instead say, go to hell. We just had the greatest election in history of our country, and the bright light is now shining over the USA. And in 26 days, we will make America great again. Merry Christmas. But I think that message would be one that many of the families of those victims who, you know, would really appreciate, seeing as those violent criminals were pardoned just days before Christmas.
It is the most quintessentially Trump Christmas message anyone could ever possibly produce. It's like you can just hear Trump through that tweet, which I love. And I think it's good that he's acknowledging the incredible commuting of 37 death row sentences, because that was pretty extraordinary. But I mean, Biden's Christmas message was also very strange. I actually have a theory that it could even be AI generated. It's just an AI generated voice of Biden. The guy's on his deathbed. He's not getting out of bed this Christmas for anyone, let alone the American people.
Now, did you get the sense that the Trudeau Christmas message could have been AI generated? That phony smile on Justin Trudeau's face, that deadpan expression about just let's just forget about everything this Christmas. Justin Trudeau could not even be in the country right now, as far as things go. But what's going to happen between now and New Year's with Justin Trudeau? Here's my prediction. As I said, he's not going to resign as leader of the Liberal Party. The thing is, and I have said this time and time again, there is no mechanism in the Liberal Party to get rid of Justin Trudeau. They can no longer demand a leadership review. And even if every last member of caucus stood up and said, we want to get rid of Justin Trudeau as our leader, it's not going to happen. So he can't be brought down by the people in Parliament, the caucus, and he can't be brought down by his own party membership. And this is what Justin Trudeau planned when he became Prime Minister. This was all put in place for the day he knew would come when his popularity would plummet and there would be millions of people and hundreds of thousands of Liberals demanding that he leave. He prepared for this day. Now, he will lead, I'm going to say this again, he will lead the Liberals into the next election because he thinks he can do it. And by the time Parliament comes back on January 27th, like a month away from tomorrow, Donald Trump will have been president for 7 days, and it's going to be a whirlwind of change. After a week of Donald Trump, you will not recognize the American government anymore. You will not recognize the direction of the United States. It's going to change that fast. Deportations will already have begun in Chicago, where they're starting. The border czar, Tom Homan, has already indicated he's going to start in Chicago, where the resistance from the mayor, Brandon Johnson, is very strong. Brandon Johnson says deportation is racist. It's aimed at black families. What BS? It's the black families in Chicago who say, get rid of these illegals. They're endangering our lives. They're taking our jobs. So these people are so out of touch. But when Justin Trudeau comes back on January 27th, he's not going to recognize things. He's going to be completely behind the times. He's going to be completely outpaced and outdistanced by President at that time, Donald Trump. He is going to be completely unable to react or cope. He's going to have to call an election. And there will be an election, and Justin Trudeau is going to lead the Liberals in that election because he thinks he's the only one to do it. And guess what? Because it will be seen as an emergency by most Liberal caucus members and most Liberal Party members, they're going to say, nobody can do it but Justin. Who else have they got? And this is something you have to ask yourself. If you think Justin Trudeau is going to step down and just get out of the way for the next election, who do you think is going to take his place? Who do you think the Liberals are going to latch on? Chrystia Freeland? Yeah, there are a lot of stupid people out there right now. Not huge numbers, but there's some apparently wealthy stupid people who are giving her money to run against Justin Trudeau. They're putting their money on Chrystia Freeland as the next leader. No way. She is so incredibly unpopular with Canadians. Her condescending manner, her supercilious outlook, her dismissive speech, everything about Chrystia Freeland is anti-electable as a leader. How about Melanie Joly? Very, very attractive woman. Gives the Liberal caucus a bit of sex appeal, but believe me, she's not capable of leading the party or the country in any way, and most Canadians know that. Mark Carney doesn't want to lead the Liberal Party into a catastrophe. He might be a globalist, and he might have all of his intentions on increasing the United Nations influence and increasing the influence of the WEF, but he's not stupid enough to want to be the leader of the Liberal Party to walk into the catastrophe that's awaiting the Liberal Party. Who does that leave list? Philippe Champagne? Sorry. The sad fact for Liberals is they're left with Justin Trudeau. There's not enough time to find anybody else, and nobody else wants the job except Justin Trudeau. So he will be leading the Liberal Party into the next election. His ego will be leading the Liberal Party into the next election. His narcissism will be leading the Liberal Party into the next election because he thinks there's nobody else that can do it, and most Liberals will have to agree. Nobody else wants the job right now. So in some respects, there is some justice. Because if Justin Trudeau had walked away and looked like a big man, it would have given him a place in history he didn't deserve. He needs to go down to defeat at the hands of Canadian voters in this next election. He needs to lose in a huge way. That will be justice. And that's going to happen to Justin Trudeau. That's my prediction on this Boxing Day 2024. Thank you for watching. Let's have a little message before we go.
Ho, 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 ho!
Now, if you've been buying this gear, if you got some of this gear for Christmas yesterday, some of this merchandise, if you got a coffee cup, if you got a hoodie, if you got a t-shirt or a hat, put it on, have somebody take a picture or take a selfie and send it to us via direct message on X or my email, and we'll put the pictures up. We're going to start celebrating the Krayden's Right Stand on Guard family. So thank you for, if you did buy it. I know there's a lot of people have been doing that. Keep buying it. Christmas is over. New Year's is on the way. And victory for common sense, for principled conservatism is also on the way. Thank you so much for watching today. I'll be back again tomorrow with all the news you need to know.